This way, the yogi helps himself to live in contentment. Adherence to the practice of yama and niyama as described in sadhana pada will ensure that sadhaka does not get caught up in these powers or misuse them. And finally comes the Kaivalya pada. And finally comes the Kaivalya pada, which means eternal liberation or eternal emancipation. This is where your soul is connecting to the supreme power or the God or the supreme soul. It is released from your own karma, which are the consequences or obligations of your action. As it is always said that as you sow, so you reap. That means the way you act is the way you get the result. But in Kaivalya Pada, you're part part away from the results of your actions because you have attained this state after following so many several years or ages of constant sadhana to attain this stage. So at this particular stage, you're free from karma, you're free from gunas, which are rajas, tamas, and sattva. And you're free from intellect, you're free from ego and your mind. You're happy, you are in a state of happiness, peacefulness, and self-sufficient. But these are not affected by any of your desires or your actions or your past life experiences. So this stage is attained where you cut your connections with people, your own desires, your own self, understand yourself way to closer, and it's the final path where you connect with your supreme soul. Once you get to this state where you become gunatita, that is where you're not attached to one particular guna and where you're free from your ego, intellect, and mind, your own consciousness, which is chitta, merges with the soul, which is purusha, and finally merges with the God or the supreme soul. So, in this pada, we'll try and understand this journey. So, what are these yogic powers? How are they attained? The, these yogic powers are either inborn because they're and then because they are your past merits or developed through merits from your past life. If you have done something very good in your previous life, you are directly born with some yogic powers. And these are also attained through use of herbs, aushadis. As we always say, herbal medicine is the supreme power of treating several disorders or cleansing your own self. And then incantation or chanting mantras. That way you're attaining peace of your mind. And then tapas, where you're devoted discipline, where you reach the yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. And then dhyana, which is the meditation. And finally, the total absorption of yourself, the samadhi. The last five powers are later becomes, which we call it as kundalini, and this flows with ever increasing abundance, preparing them to receive the infinite light of the soul. But if misused, this energetic current will vanish after destroying its own user. So this is where tapas and samadhi are held to be the best of the five. So once you gain control of control of neglecting your desires or overcoming your desires. Then your samadhi, where your intentions are pure and connecting to your own self, or total absorption, are considered the most important powers. But if these are misused, they have to build up all these practices again. So these have to be kept in a yogi's mind for his final goal. Now, what are these actions or the gunas? We can describe them in four parts, which is tamasic, that leads us to painful or sorrowful reactions, rajasics, which is a mix of pain and agreeable ones, joyful ones, mixed results, and sattvic, which are pleasant, peaceful, kind. But beyond these three gunas is the gunatita, which is desireless or karma free. The yogi has attained the gunatita state after parring all the three other gunas. The tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic are considered black, gray, and white gunas, and these gunas might lead to motivation, desire, greed, pride, and result in affecting the sadhaka in a bad way. The actions of these three gunas have memories imprinted in our brain, which might be carried not only in the present life but also is carried for further lives too. So attaining a gunatita form, which is all above lust, anger, greed, is what turns us towards a spiritual quest. And these residual impressions are called as samskaras. They build cycles of our existence and decide the station, time, and place of our birth. The yogi's actions, being pure, leave no impression and excite no reactions and are therefore free from residual impressions. As we have discussed previously, desires and impressions affect our future lives. Now we can say, as you sow, so you reap. So your actions describe your future. You act good, you achieve good. You harm someone, you receive the same. But at some point of your life, or even after, or in your future lives, these yogic discipline removes your ignorance. Like when you practice the yogic disciplines, which I've discussed until now, removes the ignorance, which is avidya, and then we can which actually distinguish subject and object. Gradually after your samadhi and while you're crossing over vibhuti and attaining kaivalya, there is no distinction between subject and the object. Now, what is chit and chitta? Chit is a passive or omniscient witness, or it's a soul. He is ever present, he is changeless, constant, ever luminous. The seer can be both subject and object at the same time. He is aware of all mutations taking place in his own mind, intelligence, and consciousness, which is called chitta. So, chitta is an active, impressionable, and engaged because it is involved in a direct relationship with the outside world. So, now we can understand the seer is the seed, and from the seed comes the seedling, which is the consciousness or chitta. And from the chitta comes the mind, which acts as a stem, and vrittis, the fluctuations or thought waves, are the leaves relayed via mind through single consciousness, the stem back to the seed. But when that involvement is analyzed, controlled, and brought to stillness, the citta gravitates towards its source, which is the sit, and take on its characteristics so that for realized being, chit and chitta becomes one. This is the goal of a yogi where we are uniting our own soul. So we can see that Chitta can be pulled in two directions, outwards towards its mother nature Prakriti, or inwards towards its fathers, which is the spirit or Purusha, or in other sense Chit. The role of yoga is to show us that the ultimate goal of Chitta is to take the second path away from the world to the bliss of the soul. Yoga both offers the goal and supplies the means to reach it. He who finds its soul is Yogeshwara, Lord or God of Yoga, or Yogi Raja, a king among yogis. Now nothing is left to be known or acquired by him, and ultimately he unites with the Supreme Soul. Now, once the yogi has turned to Yogeshwara, he is unwaveringly sustained. There's a stream of virtue pours from his heart like torrential rain. That is Dharma Mega Samadhi. Now, if you can break it down, Dharma means duty and Mega means cloud. Clouds may either block the sunlight or clear the sky by sending down rain to reveal it. Now, in this state, it's a rainfall revealing your own self, where Yogeshwara is turning and leading to a complete liberal state where he's uniting with the Supreme Soul. So, this eternal bliss of freedom or self sufficiency is what is explained in Kaivalya Pada. In this, the eternal now is divine, and he too is divine. All the aims of his lives are fulfilled. He is a fulfilled soul, one without equal living in benevolent freedom and beatitude. He is alone and complete, and this is what we call Kaivalya. Patanjali begins the Yoga Sutras with Atha, meaning now, and ends with Iti, meaning that is all. So we begin with now, where we should start to begin our journey, and end, which is Iti, to connect with the Supreme Soul. Besides this search for the soul, there is nothing left. And with this, we complete Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So, to summarize, Vibhudipada is refinement of intelligence and extraordinary powers, whereas Kaivalyapada is the final stage where liberation, unity with the soul, and transcendence of karma and time, and ultimate unity with the supreme power is the Kaivalyapada. Thank you.